everyone. What's up, Anita? Hey, Jen. What's up, strangers? How y'all doing? J and J's got her. Can you guys hear me? Don, can you hear me? We can see your head. That's a cool looking headset you got. Where'd you get that at? I know where. Thanks, Jen. So comment yes if you can hear me.
Hello?
Oh,
Okay, there we
good.
go.
I
I
was
couldn't
worried.
figure out what was
Jen
going on
said
with
she
my
could hear me.
yeah, my mic was acting weird.
We love you too. I'm glad you can
Hey
hear us.
guys.
Anita, thank you for coming. Jen, thanks for being here. Dawn, thank you for getting this all set up because I am lost, as everyone here knows, when it comes
Oh,
to the
you're welcome,
technology.
honey. Guys, I'm so sorry about today. This afternoon, I went to go live and we lost power. So it was there and then it shut down. And then restream started glitching after that. It was weird. So, but everything's all good now, as you can see. So I will be on at 12:30 mañana on
Oh,
Midday Motivated.
well, apparently, we can't open the microwave door or whatever happened. Something happened today. It's like the electric in this house is weird.
It's so weird.
She said she can hear now, but it took a minute to hear me or to hear. I think Dawn, yours was you were on mute or something, right? Or not connected yet.
Yeah, my mic had, I guess from earlier, I had to redo the settings on it.
She said loud and clear, sister. That's awesome. That's good. Well, I'm glad we've got sound. We are better than I remember my first show. I was like, so I'm like, we're doing a heck of a lot better than then. But this time, what we talk about everything. I don't know, but it's a nice song that's played at the beginning. It's like what do you always tell me? Those are just like tracks type thing that you can play on the back of Restream. But I'm like, I could really like jam to that song. Like it would get me pumped in the morning.
Which one? The
So
one that I did for your intro or the
yeah, that one when it starts counting 50 seconds down.
Yeah, that's Video Leap. I got that from Video Leap.
Oh, it's like or something like that.
Mhm.
I won't sing it. Don't worry. I'm just like, we talk about everything plant-based here. But the topic I wanted to discuss was something that totally shocked me because I've dealt with so much diabetes in my family. One of my best friends, who's no longer with us, Amber, as you know, she had childhood diabetes. And then, my mom ended up with type 2 diabetes after she got pregnant with my sister. My grandfather had to take insulin, or pills, and just a lot of people that I've known have had type 2 diabetes, and I never really understood what it was or how it develops. And then I saw this video and it kind of made everything clear to me. And we're going to play the video, but I want to explain it how I understand it, because sometimes I can break it down like that. Basically, to simplify everything, I learned that when we're young and we eat a cookie, obviously we don't have to worry about, oh, this has a high sugar content. We eat a bunch of sugar, we're fine. Because when we're younger and we eat a banana or a piece of fruit that has a lot of sugar, or a bread that has carbs that turn to sugar, or even like a cookie or a cake, it goes to the right place. Basically, there's cells, and the doctor will say it on this video, the actual cells, but basically there's cells where the sugar goes and gets out of your bloodstream. So when you're young and you eat some sugar, it goes where it's supposed to. Now, over time, and as you get older and you start eating a more high fat diet, what ends up happening if you eat basically, you can go on a low fat diet, but the best thing to do is to go plant based, because you're actually clearing those drains out. Over time, as you eat a high fat diet, which is like meat and dairy, those cells where the sugar is supposed to go are getting clogged up, kind of like a drain, is the way the one doctor explains it. So over time, then your sugar, and a lot of people, when you gain some weight, that's why you can go ahead and develop type 2 diabetes, because basically those little holes where the sugar is supposed to go is getting clogged up. So when you eat a cookie now, that sugar can't go where it's supposed to. So it's backing up into your bloodstream and it's causing you to have a high glucose reading. So everybody's like, oh, the sugar's bad, the bread is bad, this is bad, that is bad. But if it's something that you didn't have, like from your childhood, which some people are born with insulin resistance, so that's something different. You can manage it and you can get your symptoms better by going on a plant-based diet. However, it's not something that you can completely reverse unless it's type 2, from what I understand so far anyway. But when you actually have type 2 that you've developed, you can actually reverse it. And I know a lot of people in my groups who have done so and who've gotten off all their medication. Basically, the cool thing about it is if you go plant-based for 30 to 60 days, those cells where the sugar is supposed to go actually clear out. And the doctor talks about unclogging the drain. So now your sugar can go where it's supposed to. So you don't have to eat only you can have normal fruits and vegetables that have sugars in them, and you can have a little bit of, obviously we don't want to overstuff ourselves with cookies, but it's not going to be a problem if you have a cookie. I like cookies, if you haven't realized. Oh, Christmas. But anyway, so that's basically it. I'm gonna play this video, and this kinda explains it better in, like, the real terms of how this is clips from the doctor's episode on, just one of the talk shows where the guys from Mastering Diabetes were on, and then also What the Health. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it in the comments later. This is partly from that documentary. If you haven't watched that, it is life-changing to watch What the Health. Um, and I'm not cussing, I'm saying health. Do we have it
I
ready?
like,
Is that where you
yeah,
went?
it's ready. I love the play on words there. So without further ado, here we are for you.
And I really think it's important that we go back and understand what is insulin resistance and why is that important for people living with all forms of diabetes. So that research goes all the way back to the 1920s. So insulin resistance, what that is when you consume a diet of excess dietary fat. Okay, you have too much fat. This fat gets stored in cells which are not designed to store fat, your muscle and liver cells. Now, a simple way to understand this, which I really want the audience to get, is if you think of your kitchen sink, okay? The water comes out of the faucet, it goes through the drain, no problem, all right? That's an insulin-sensitive sink, okay? So if you ate a banana, you're in an insulin-sensitive state, your body's able to take that glucose out of your bloodstream and put it into your cells. That's insulin-sensitive person. Now, if you start to clog the drain by consuming high-fat meals, the water will accumulate in the sink, eventually it will spill over the edge, and now you have high blood glucose readings. That's what happens when people eat a banana, living with diabetes, they test their blood glucose and it's high. It's because they're living with insulin resistance. So as you eat a high-fat diet, you are continuing to clog the drain. It's getting more and more clogged, and you are living with insulin resistance at that point.
Exclusively blame lack of exercise and sugary foods as a cause of diabetes. But I wanted to talk with an actual expert on the role of diet and diabetes. I went to speak with premier physician, diabetes expert, and researcher, Dr. Neil Barnard. What role does sugar play in causing diabetes?
Drives me crazy. Diabetes is not and never was caused by eating a high carbohydrate diet, and it's not caused by eating sugar. The cause of diabetes is a diet that builds up the amount of fat into the blood. I'm talking about a typical meat-based, animal-based diet. You can look into the muscle cells of the human body and you find that they're building up tiny particles of fat that's causing insulin resistance. What that means is the sugar that is naturally from the foods that you're eating can't get into the cells where it belongs. It builds up in the blood, and that's diabetes.
I had never heard that meat was associated with causing diabetes. We had always been told that sugar or obesity caused it. Renowned weight loss bariatric surgeon Dr. Garth Davis, though, agreed.
Everyone thinks that you get diabetic because of carbs. They did a huge study, in that EPIC study, 500,000 people. Carbs consumption was inversely related to diabetes. In other words, the more carbs someone ate, the less diabetes they had. But meat was strongly correlated. To get that aha moment, the starches, the carbs are good for you. They're not bad for you. This idea that carbs make you fat is utterly ridiculous. Carbs cannot make you fat in and of themselves. We have storage in our muscles and in our liver for carbs called glycogen. So when we eat carbs, we either store it or we burn it. Now, eat fat, that goes straight to your fat. Your body can't turn those carbs into fat unless you're really overdoing the calories. I go into the hospital and I look around me, people on dialysis, all these sick people, and just about every disease in there is because of what people are eating.
Here's the thing. If I eat a sugary cookie, the sugar lures you in like the Trojan horse, but waiting inside that cookie is a huge load of butter or shortening, and that's what fattens you up, and that's the part that leads to the diabetes. It's the fatty foods, not really so much the sugar.
It's not that sugar is good for you. There's no nutrients in it. It's excess calories. But when you eat sugar, you don't get inflammation right away. When you eat sugar, you're not getting plaques forming in your vessels. When you're eating sugar, your body's going to store most of it as glycogen or burn it as calories. And so this focus on sugar has taken all the focus off meat, dairy, eggs, pork, turkey, chicken.
Wow, that's insane. I just got even a better understanding of it too, because I know you've been telling me that for a while, but just
Yeah.
listening to all the different points of view there from the experts, that really cleared it up for me. A lot of the questions I had about it.
Yeah, like, and it's so like I love that visual that they show when he shows the little particles, floating along and they can't get where they're supposed to go. It's like saying that it reminds me of when I don't know, well, if you're a teacher, for example, Anita, I know you that you got to understand this. Like sometimes you think that it's the wrong person, like let's say we're a teacher in school, right? And we see that one kid just pushed somebody and it's like, hey, it looks like they're the ones that are the cause. That's what it reminds me of with the sugar. After the drains are already clogged, you didn't see the first bully that was causing the problem. You just saw the person that was pushing back. So it's kind of like, okay, after we've clogged the drain, and what really made this make sense to me, because I could have said, well, I don't believe any of this, but I've seen people over time develop type 2 diabetes. That is not insulin resistance isn't something that you usually start out with. It's something that happens when you start to get a higher blood glucose level, and that's because of eating sugary food. However, if you could eat the same amount of sugars before, then it has to be something that changed, and that seems to be the major cause is the high fat diet. So sometimes when they put people on a low carb diet or a low sugar diet, of course that's going to help. If you're not eating as much of it, it's going to keep it low. Or they give you a medication, you can eat the sugar and then the medicine will reduce the blood sugar level, but then that medication is going to cause other side effects, and they're going to continue to manage it. Why not tell people that you can clear this out by going plant-based for 30 days? Nobody's telling you that. And I just watched a live yesterday from Chef AJ. I don't know if you guys know her, but you should check out her YouTube. She's a plant-based chef and she does a documentary or like a live, with different guests. And she had a
Mm-hmm.
doctor on. And guess what he said?
What?
He basically said that the reason that they cannot, when talking about there's like there's a gray, real sticky area when it comes to talking
Mm-hmm.
about meat and when it comes to the government and when it comes to organizations, because Hormel, who makes Spam, well, they basically made all lunch meat, anything like that is now like considered a carcinogen and it can cause cancer. It's been proven. So, but Hormel is one of the top sponsors of the American Cancer Society. And so they donate a ton of money to this organization. So it's not that they're like not telling you, but they're not telling you. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right.
Like, because they're sponsors for these organizations, sometimes they can't, it makes it, when
It's
money
a
gets
conflict of
involved, it
interest.
makes it a conflict of interest, which is really sad because we need to get the truth out there and let people know that if you go on a plant-based diet, that you can get rid of all of these different diseases. For 30 days, some people are getting off of it. I always wonder, why is that not being screamed from the rooftops? Why is that not something that's all over television? And it's because of all this conflict of interest. Channel 11 might be sponsored by a lot of meat companies, that
Right, right,
give
right.
them a lot of money to advertise. So do they really want to come on there saying you shouldn't eat their product? No,
You
of
know
course.
what that makes me curious about? The keto diet, because the keto diet is a high fat. Is it is it protein that they're concentrated on, or is it fat? Because that bulletproof coffee, that's fat. Eating meat, meat has
It's
fat.
gonna make you lose weight, but it's not gonna help you with insulin, resistance. And if you
Right,
lose weight, you might, technically, a lot of the diets, a low fat diet is gonna help you. Like if you can't go completely, meatless in Seattle.
right.
I do that seatless. Anita is starting a blog too. I know she's
Oh,
probably,
you go, Anita.
I love
I
it.
need a blog.
Oh yeah, me too.
I need a blog in my life.
So we're writing buddies now. We're holding each other accountable to the writing because she has a really good, I can't wait to read this whole thing because I love that I've seen it from the beginning of her journey. Um but she's going to come on Amazing Transformations, and we're going to do one of those shows and talk about it. But
Sounds good.
I mean, doesn't that make you and I remember when I first said this to you, Dawn, you were like, "No, that's not true." Like something like that. Like not that's not true, but you looked like literally like you didn't believe me. You're like, "Wait, we've been told our whole life, like I was, that sugar causes diabetes."
Right, right, right.
All that sugar or you're going to get diabetes. Like that's just where we were brought up, and we thought that that's what it was, but it's like we're not seeing the full picture. We're not being told everything, and that's my biggest problem with the medical industry. And not that I have a problem with the medical industry, because obviously they save lives in so many ways, and they're so, like, you know what I mean, like they're so necessary, and they're such warriors for being in there with helping sick people.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest problem is not telling people exactly, you
Giving
know
them the
giving
options.
them the options of
It's
how you
fine if
can
you want to sell
reverse
meat
it.
and fine if you want to push your thing, but don't lie to people by omitting what could really help them.
Yes.
I'm not against big business profiting. That's what makes this country run. We need economic strength, but not at the expense of people's lives. It's like if there's a way that people can save themselves and cure themselves, then we have a right to know that stuff. Stop hiding it.
There's another way. I mean, there's always an alternate way. You don't have to continue to kill people. There could be a way to profit. Because if you told people, trust me, and had a lot of wellness centers and helped people to cure and reverse their cancer, their type 2 diabetes, and other ailments, and eczema and skin conditions, trust me, that's going to, that wellness program is going to do just as well. Just like the meat farmers can change over to a mushroom farm and make just as much money.
Or almonds, instead
Yeah.
of a dairy farmer, why don't you grow almonds and get and help us produce more almond milk? Just change your business, change it up. And we're saying it like it's an easy thing to do. I
It's not.
realize it takes time, but it's going to be better for the planet and better for people as a whole once they convert.
I just saw post on like, Facebook, I think it was, where the lady shared, and they said vegans don't make a difference, and it showed the actual milk section. This was only like an hour ago, of like a regular I guess it was a mainstream grocery store, and I've seen this too. Like there is a huge amount of like plant-based milks, like they have that Next milk now. They've got Silk, they've got Almond Breeze, they've got soy milk, oat milk, they've got all the creamers now are starting to convert at least one or two of them in each store. Some have more, like if you have a Trader Joe's or Sprouts or what is it? Anita was telling me Costco has like a lot of stuff, but even the ones that aren't mainstream, you're starting to see every now and then there's a little bit, there's one option at least. Even a lot of restaurants now have one plant-based option, and it's like that little change is saving an animal. It's possibly making somebody give it a shot and say, "Yeah, this isn't so bad." But now if we could just get the schools, the hospitals, and the medical industry to say, yes, this is the way you should eat, and getting more people, because people listen to authority. Like, who am I? Some chick that does Meatless Monday, but I have a story of how I was healed of a bunch of different things with it. You have a story, Dawn. Anita's going to have stories. You know what I mean?
I'm
Jen,
gonna
we're still
play
trying to get you there. I
I'm
know
gonna
your
play
husband's a hunter, but
devil's advocate just for a little bit and say I get why the medical industry doesn't really talk about it, because really when you think about it, we're talking about two separate industries, nutrition versus medical. And the medical, they don't learn any of that. Like when they go to medical school, their books are treating people.
mhm.
They're talking about medicine, they're talking about how to do surgeries. So they don't go into nutrition. They're not trained on any of that. So I'm going to give them a pass as far as that. They're not going to push that. That's where it's up to the powers that be to put just as much, if not more, money into the nutritional end of it. It's we've thrown so much money at treating cancer and putting medical facilities in place that can produce medicine. Okay, let's now switch gears and put that type of money into the farmers that can grow the food, and put that money into information that gets out to people about nutrition, because that's a business too. It's like, let's get freaking creative already. And if it's about money, then put it into what is going to make us well. You're not going to get money from a dead person. So if you're really about making the money, look, marry the two. Put the money into the area that is going to make people feel well. People spend money when they feel good. It's like, use your brains already.
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean, and we've got like at least one person um that is recently was in politics, and his name, Eric Adams, I think, is the mayor of New York, who and was talking about plant-based, and he's trying to get some policies in place, but that's a tough sell because you are one person can only do so much. That's why driving the market is what's important. Like, I'm on a couple of vegan pages, and I talk about this all the time, where they're like, we don't support Hellman's because they also make dairy. Well, you know what? I like Hellman's vegan mayo, and I feel like if I and you and 10 million people buy the Hellman's vegan mayo, they might start to get a clue that they can move more toward that, and if all of us tell a bunch of our friends, hey, you can get no cholesterol and eat this Hellman's vegan mayo and get the same taste, that's going to actually help a lot of people, and it's going to help them realize that there's a market. If we don't buy it, it's going to look like we're boycotting it. We're not boycotting the plant-based stuff, because people are going to buy Hellman's no matter what anyway. It's
You
up
know what
to
this
us
reminds
to
me
do
of?
it.
You know what this reminds me of?
Revolution.
Smoking. Smoking. Remember? You could
Yes.
smoke in bars, you could smoke in stores, you could
Doctors were
smoke in
advertising
other.
camels.
Yeah, you could smoke, blah, blah, blah. But look what happened when everybody banded together talking about smoking, talking about how it causes cancer, talking about secondhand smoking. Before
Mhm.
you know it, smoking was banned in establishments. And now it's like, okay, guess what? Let's switch it over to the plant-based diet
Good
and
point.
food industry. The same thing needs to happen that happened with smoking.
Yeah.
Because when
They
you're
can't
eating
hold it
that type
in.
of right, when you're eating that type of food, you're getting the same results that you got with the smoking. You're getting the diseases, you're getting the cancer, you're getting all of that stuff. If you can do it with smoking, which was huge, you can do it with food as well. Let's get restaurants, more restaurants are adding more vegan options to their menu. I can't wait to see the day when that becomes the norm and eating the other way becomes ooh,
Yeah.
taboo,
Like you're one of those
just like
restaurants that still
smoking.
has meat. Oh, you have a bar that still can smoke? Oh, they're gonna get rid of that soon. I
Right.
remember one of the last places we ever went was Denny's. Remember the smoking or non-smoking? It was
Yeah.
somewhere we went and I was like, "They still have a smoking section?" This was years and years ago now, but it was like odd at that point, that they
Mm-hmm.
still had that section. And it was like, so you're right. We're in the beginning of like a revolution happening. We're in the beginning of that change. Will I see it maybe in my lifetime? I don't know, but definitely I'm seeing the change starting to happen because you're seeing more people who are trying it. But I think what has to happen, to your point, is the education part of it, which is
Yeah.
part of what this is all about, and it's about telling people, giving them the choice or the option, because I don't think people put the whole thing together. And you don't have to be perfect, you know what I
It's
mean?
such a
Like,
huge part of healing. I think they should bring a nutritional curriculum into medical schools, because if doctors are truly about helping people get better, they should be schooled in the area of nutrition. Because if you're dealing with the body, hello, okay, food is a huge part. We have to eat. So huge is food is a huge part of the healing process as well as maintaining health. So nutrition needs to be part of the medical school curriculum.
I mean, let's just say if I were a doctor and I had an open mind and I just watched this video and learned that insulin resistance is what's backing the sugar up into the blood, and that
Yeah.
clearing those drains with a low fat plant based diet could, in fact, cure some of my patients. That's a tough place to put a doctor in who gets paid to prescribe medicine.
Yeah,
And
but
but
you
I
know
wouldn't
what?
be able to do it. You know what I mean?
You
I'd
know
be
what
like,
though?
okay, I got to tell them.
What they need to start getting paid for is making people better, like that how they started out.
Yeah, but there's so much. That's where the pharmaceutical industry comes in, because there's so much money in insurance companies and people getting paid to prescribe. Like, imagine if we didn't need that one. I don't know exactly what it would be called, but let's say there's one diabetes medicine, which there is, that lowers.
Metformin.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
think I've heard it referred to
me
as
too.
metformin. Yeah.
I've heard of that. Now that makes sense. Yep. So imagine if you were the person who promotes, that and gets the kickbacks and gets paid, and the insurance companies are getting paid. It's like that's where the whole conflict of interest comes in.
But you know what? If they make it so they don't have a choice, then what do? They're going to have to find something else to sell, right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like you have to shift lanes. You have to find something else to sell that promotes health. Why
Hmm.
are you promoting, why are you selling and promoting things that are killing people and or not making them better? What's the whole purpose of it? Because it's money? Okay, you can create a business out of nothing. So they need to learn how to switch the focus to making money on the stuff that makes us better. And people will pay out of the, and listen, if people found out there was a way that they could pay to live forever or
Right.
not ever get
That's what
sick,
I
wouldn't
mean.
they
Think
pay? Yeah,
outside the box,
yeah, it
right?
would be no amount of money that I would bust my
I
ass
mean,
to pay whatever I needed to pay.
exactly. I feel like that's why I want to start an organization, and I don't know exactly how to do it, but I think if we got everybody together and donated money to the cause of getting that word out, I guarantee there are enough people that have been healed and cured of all their ailments because of going plant-based. They've cured cancer. We've talked to two people who've cured MS and cancer just ourselves. just in this little bit of time that we've been in this world, a couple of years, you know? I mean, I've only started this at 42, and the things I've learned, I don't even feel right not coming on here, not even just once a week, but that's why I'm always posting things, because you have to be able to put this out there when you know it. It's that
Right.
important. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you.
How
Thanks
are
for
you?
coming.
You are so welcome. So I'm not going to wanted to chime in as you were talking about metformin and starting topic tonight was insulin resistance syndrome, and I was actually like that several years ago, and I was prescribed metformin. Could not take it for more than one day. It literally stomach so upset. I, I felt I can't even describe felt when I started taking it. So I couldn't tolerate it for more than a year. And she said, okay, split the pill in half, try it again and work your way back up. I said, no, we're not going to do that. So it took me a long time. I didn't necessarily, there are other things that I can ingest and do for maybe make a difference. But slowly but surely, I kind of wandered into journey as you guys will continue to hear more about. But it was really compelling, and I remember going to the doctor and saw a new primary physician, and they do the workup taking, and I gave her one, and she said, okay, what else? I said, and they couldn't believe it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
saying that every, but at 54 years old, and that's what happened when I was 50, it to me that this is not just about pharmaceuticals, and like pharmaceuticals are totally not necessarily with other things that you can do to support your health.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just a person like everybody else, but I know that different things. And for me personally, my plant so much about, the harm to animals and living things and all that. Not care
Mm-hmm.
about that. That's not what's primarily driving me right now. What's driving me on this, and as I've told JJ, if I do something better, at some point I'm going to stop being a rockhead and continue to do better, you know?
Right.
Yeah. You know
You
what?
know,
Can
Like
you
in
repeat what you said, Anita? Because you broke up there. You've been breaking up consistently.
yeah, like I
So
can hear a
I've
part of
missed a
it.
couple of, yeah. But I
I
didn't
don't
want to
even know.
interrupt you because you were on a flow. But you said that just that last sentence that you were saying, you said
Oh,
something.
I don't know what I said.
Well,
it was
damn it.
it was
I
I
want
flowing.
I mean, basically, I
to know.
think you were saying that you found that there is another way, which people don't tell you, is where I
Yes.
think you were going with it.
Not a bad here. Let me turn I'm on my cell phone, but I'm watching you on my TV all the way down. Is that better?
Let's see. It starts out good, and then some point it like skips when you were talking. So let's see. Say a full sentence you can
Okay.
tell.
It's not all about medication.
That's perfect.
There's more than
Yeah.
medication. Better. So I'm being my own best advocate. I'm not just
Hmm.
taking mindlessly what doctors are telling me to take to my body.
Very good.
And when
Exactly.
I
Very
go
good.
and when I go based, and I'm not all the way there yet,
Hmm.
my body feels if when I ingest meat and based dairy products, if I'm sick for 2, 3. There's my answer.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause you were telling me you
And
had
that
something and you felt it,
I've
like
had a
you
couple.
knew.
Honey baked ham, Jersey Mike's,
Mm-hmm.
subs, hoagies. Love the taste. But if it makes me feel sick, days, then there's my answer. Don't.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's really as simple as that.
And
So,
It
then you have to
is.
find
um,
something that you can eat in place of it sometimes, you know, like, I know I
yeah,
love
yeah.
Chinese food, you know, and we were just talking about this last night, and of course, that's why
Mhm.
we wanted Chinese so much tonight, Don. I forgot. That's what I was talking with Anita about the Asian food,
Mhm.
but we ended up getting some
Mhm.
Chinese so that we could have it for after the live, and, like, I know that if I wouldn't be able to have an alternative, I would be really
Yes.
upset. So the General Tso's tofu to me reminds me of the General Tso's chicken that I used to have. Sometimes, like the lunch meat, I don't know if you've
Mhm.
tried tofurkey yet, but if you take a sub
No.
roll, put some
No.
helm, oh, try it. It
No.
is good. I'm
Nope.
telling you.
I'm gonna. I
I'm
got. Go ahead, baby.
Dawn's a
no.
subber.
No. I was just going to say. So, not one of those types that needs a meat substitute. So if
Mhm.
I'm not going to eat an animal product, give me vegetables, give me fruit. I don't need to or feel like I need most of the time and feel like I'm eating meat. So a
Yeah.
lot of the meat substitute not have.
You know, that's
So
actually admirable because
I
eventually
mean, it's
that
just
You
how
can be
won't want
just
it.
I
as
am.
harmful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know that it's admirable or not. That's just my take. I do some. I will do occasionally some morning star on a
Yeah.
breakfast, but generally, if I'm gonna not eat meat, I would just rather have steamed vegetables.
It
But
feels good to be whole
JJ,
food for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
just my taste buds. I don't know that it's admirable or
It
better or
is to
not.
me because some people just if they don't have a crutch, they just go by the wayside and don't do any of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So, that's what I meant. So, it's so cool that you can transition and actually get away from even something similar to it. Some people need that crutch.
yeah.
So, that's really good. I'm glad.
So I told Jay texting. I'm very lucky in that I'm surrounded by international food neighborhoods in St. Louis, Missouri. So from our Chinatown. So I have any Asian seasoning, spice, sauce, oil that you could ever want in my relatively cheap. So
Okay.
I just keep that. And you can anything with chili crisp or sesame oil or I read my labels and it just tastes good. I don't so I'm getting have to think about what I'm pulling out of the refrigerator because I
Yeah.
know chances are it's based in not because it's plant based, but because it tastes good and it does. And that's that.
Yeah.
It's I really enjoy it. Now I'm gonna say tonight I have a piece of salmon. I haven't still may not eat it, but from last night when we were texting, pour noodles in a vegetable broth. I'm gonna add a little scoop of chili. That's probably gonna be my dinner because it's super flavorful stomach and I will not feel like I'm sacrificing. That's
Mhm.
Right.
my asthmatic. Please
Just off
ignore her.
topic, for a second. You live in St. Louis?
I do.
Okay, so wow, what is going on? St. Louis, I had no idea was this huge melting pot, apparently.
Oh, we're such a dichotomy in a lot of ways, but probably a story for another uh live. But
Yeah, I didn't
yeah,
know
no,
that. It's like
same.
every time you turn around, it's like they have an Asian community, they have an African community, there's like an Indian community. It's
We have
all like
everything.
St. Louis. Yeah,
We have everything.
that's cool.
We have the Bosnian population outside of Bosnia.
Wow.
Nobody
That's
knows that.
wild.
Yeah, nobody knows that. So if I want, and that's hard in some ways. So if I want authentic Bosnian food, minutes, and I go get Bosnian bread. If I want true shawarma, I drive 10 and I go get it.
Right.
My eyebrow family, they say I'm the sixth sister that they don't talk about in their family does my eyebrows. And I get labne and all that stuff from them. So I can the bottom line is I can get whatever. We have a huge Italian community. 15 minutes from completely surrounded by whatever I want. So
Wow.
that makes me very lucky.
You're making
Nobody
us
knows
want to
that.
move to St. Louis.
I mean,
I mean,
really? That sounds so
serious.
interesting.
I mean, certainly a destination place to come eat and explore. It's a great. Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is my food food is health. Food
Yeah.
is medicine. And I'm
Hmm.
this is really truly just coming out, but I've lived here almost my whole in Atlanta and lived in DC for a little bit and came back. I traveled to JJ and our current employer, but um have the luxury of having whatever food I want at any time I want it. Authentic, but not every food is made for everybody. And the
Right.
more I learn, the more I discover if it doesn't make you feel good for three, it not for me. It's not anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, to some people think about what I'm eliminating or what are you eliminating. It's all about motivation when it comes to
Right.
people and what you're doing. And like when I feel good, I feel motivated to do more of what made me feel good. That's why people
Correct.
do a lot of the things that they do. So yeah, it doesn't make me feel good when I first started to not eat this or not eat that. But once I started eating this, this, and this, when I realized that when I eat a lot of
Right.
raw vegetables, I feel really good. That made
Hmm.
me wanna do more of that. When
Makes you
I'm during
appreciate
the
the
day
vegetables.
and I choose to
Yes.
eat a banana and some peanut butter over eating a bunch of, like, a cheeseburger, and I know that I'm gonna feel really still focused and awake and happy and motivated to get my work done the rest of the day, I start wanting to eat more of that? So it's like,
Right.
if you start thinking about food as, like, fuel for your body,
Right.
and obviously I'm like not well, for 6 months obviously I just ate raw vegetables, but I did go back to eating a lot of, different things and cooked foods and grains and and then eventually now when I want to have that's what we talk about, like a lot of people, a cheat day for a lot of people is having, like, I don't know, what do people have? Like if they're on a diet and then they have like a steak or something. Our cheat day is eating like Chinese food out or eating like the plant-based chicken fillets, you know what I mean? Or having the meat-based like we made spaghetti with the gardine. Oh my gosh, that spaghetti was so good. Dawn. Dawn's like the best spaghetti maker. I don't know what's in that sauce, but I think she's got me addicted. I think she's putting some kind of drug in it. But yeah, like that's what the cheat becomes. It's not eating meat. I'll never go back to eating meat. And like you said, it's more of like an ethical thing for me now that keeps me there. So when I got to that place, that's what really just I don't even like cheat to go back to meat. Like it started out because I started feeling good because of the vegetables. However, like I think the journey evolves, and that's why I'm excited to read your writing because I'm excited to read this over time and see where you are now when we listen back to this and where you end up in 2 years from now. You know what I mean? And like, cause like I'm totally different as a person who eats plant based that I was 2019 when I started 2 months in and where I'm at now almost 4 years later. And I'm probably different than I'll be. Who knows? Maybe I'll be really strict with it and only be whole food, plant based, little bit of oil in 10 years. Or I'll be all the way junk food vegan. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. I'll be eating Oreo cookies and beer or something because they're both vegan.
Wow. Well, I have really enjoyed myself tonight. This has been really because I'm about ready to eat some of that Chinese. I'm so hungry from us talking about food.
Anita, you made Dawn too hungry with all this talk. I know, like, well, I don't under before we go though, I have to find out what is Bosnian food? Like what is it? Like what would you have if you were having Bosnian food? If you're still here.
Is she still with us?
I see her thing, but I don't see her mic moving, so maybe she lost connection. Well, I'm gonna have to look it up. Do you know, Dawn?
No, I don't. I've never had Bosnian food
I know
before.
shawarma is Greek. I'm pretty sure because we have a place here called OC Kebab that does like really good um like they do a lot of vegan stuff. However, like their main dish is like lamb and things, so I'm not real fond of that. But there's a lot of good vegan food. Like it's funny in a lot of cultural food that you can find like there are really really more vegan options, you know, than you'll
Yeah.
find in American food other than the replacement things, for the most part. And like I say to people, most food that you eat and prepare is already going to be 90%, I would venture to say 90% plant-based. Think about your plate on Thanksgiving. You've got,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously mashed potatoes, we mess them up with the milk, but for the most part, a potato is vegan. You've got, green beans, corn,
Got your
sweet
stuffing. You got
potatoes.
sauerkraut, which is basically cabbage,
I
shredded
want some
cabbage.
sauerkraut. That just made me want it. That's tomorrow. I found, mom brought us some of those canned goods
Yeah.
um along with our Christmas presents. Like we get like vegan food too now. It's part of the thing. Beans, whatever she's got, right? So we got I saw those little round boiled or those potatoes. You know the potatoes that come in a can? I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, that'd be good with some cabbage and sauerkraut
That
and
sounds
some
like a good meal.
beans." Oh man, pinto beans. Um yeah, I'm
You
getting
have
hungry.
become I know.
That sounds really good though, doesn't it? Like
It
without
does.
meat. The
It
beans kinda
does.
act as protein for you. So, I'm interested if you watch the replay of this, I definitely want to let you know that most people who go plant-based, within 30 days, they're already impressing their doctors when they go back to their next visit. There's a lady I'm dying to get her on here, and I don't wanna mention her name because she works with us, or, you know, at my job, and I don't want to like put her out there until she's ready, but she told me that she's gotten now, that was 30 days, she came off some of her medication because what happens is your doctor doesn't understand what's happening. They're like, "Wow, okay, I don't understand your sugar levels. You don't need this much medication." And it's dangerous to keep taking it because we're lowering the blood sugar, but your sugars are getting normal. So then sometimes you come off of it. I think she said 3 months in, she was completely off all of her sugar medication that she took for somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 years, and I mean, it's just knowing that I could not put this out here. So I want to thank you, Dawn, for coming on here with me. Thank you, Anita, for going on your journey. I know you're going to see so many health changes. You don't have to completely go all the way. That's what I love about Anita is she's on a journey. she's cutting out a lot of the meat, but when she wants to have something, she's still having it. And then her body's telling her, "No, I don't want you to have that." But
Right.
sometimes it takes us a while to, you know what I mean, to get to where we need to. And it doesn't matter as long as you're mostly plant-based, I'm happy for you because you're still going to make health changes. Yes, would it be better to be off all the meat and dairy? It will give you the best chance, but just cutting down and letting yourself know that you can do it,
Yeah.
and finding the benefits of being plant-based, I think are even more important than like what you're taking away. Because once you start to feel like what the fruits and vegetables do for you, and I said this before too, while you're cooking at night, put on a
Hmm.
video of YouTube and say health benefits of cabbage, for example. And when you listen to that stuff, you're going to realize, okay, what I'm putting in my body is actually it's boosting my immunity. It might be protecting me from getting a cold or COVID or whatever, and you'll start to feel like, oh, wait, this is actually making my skin have more elasticity. It's going to make me look younger, like it's really cool to just find out what food does for you. And it is medicine, like she said, it's preventative medicine, and it can also
Absolutely.
reverse things. So you're not destined to be on medication forever if you have type 2 diabetes. Remember, you can go plant-based for 30 days and already see the benefits of getting yourself back to normal. Unclog those drains.
There you go.
You have
I
anything
agree.
else you want to say?
I sure don't. I'm just happy to be on the journey that we're on. I'm glad that it reminds me of Annette Larkins and her husband. They call her the ageless woman because her husband was a butcher, and in her 20s she was preparing meat and decided that she was disgusted by it and stopped eating it and became a vegetarian. And then when she was in her 40s she became a full vegan, but her husband never followed her on the journey. And it's so crazy because he literally looks like he's her father now. She still kept her same youthful appearance from the food she ate. He stayed on a mostly meat based diet or standard American diet, and he looks like he's about 85 years old to her, maybe 40 or 50.
Well, here's
And
the
they're the
thing.
same age.
You already look like you're like
Oh, here we
18,
go.
you know what I mean? Though, but I
No,
had some catching up to do, so I'm glad I went plant-based because I mean, if I had kept eating meat, I might look like I'm 85.
no, I doubt
No, but you do,
it.
you look really young, so the fact that you went plant-based on top of that, like, I'm scared. You're gonna be, like, 90 years old looking like 40.
Oh my goodness. Well,
But
I've had a ball. I've had a ball. I love talking about this stuff. It's so exciting.
me too. I know we're coming up on my 1 hour time limit I put on it, but I want to say thank you to Anita for, it always makes me feel good when I talk to somebody about being plant-based. And I don't know if I'm the first person that she had talked to, or she already started exploring it, but I know she found interest when I said I was plant-based. And the
Yeah.
fact that she's allowing us to come on this journey is so cool. I love hearing success stories, and I want to thank Jen for coming in and everybody else for listening. Like,
Thanks, Jen.
everybody who's not plant based, I love that you're here too, because that's really, we can all, I want to hear of people who have had their journey and are on board with it, but really the people who are just learning about it, that's really the audience I want to reach, because that was me at 42. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be able to share this. So, everyone, thank you, and we will see you next Monday, next Meatless Monday
Yes,
on at
yes, yes.
7:30. Right? I'll
That
be here.
sounds like a plan. I will be here, same bat time, same bat channel.
Thank you. All right,
Peace and
everyone, have
blessings,
an
everybody.
excellent evening. Thank you. If we can do it, so can you.
So can you.